Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Caleb Likes Books. Today I have another book review for you. That is for The Elder Scrolls The Infernal City by Greg Keyes. This is the first book of a duology, which includes The Infernal City, and I believe the second book is called Lord of Souls, and this is an Elder Scrolls duology. So this is based on the Elder Scrolls video game series. It came out, I think, a little bit before Skyrim, the fifth game. I think a couple years before that. Came out like around halfway between Oblivion and Skyrim, I think. I am a fan of the Elder Scrolls series. I'm not like super into all of it, but I have played a lot of Skyrim. Skyrim's one of the few games that I have bought multiple times on different platforms. I've bought it on PC and Switch and PlayStation and all that stuff. Love Skyrim, and I've played a decent amount of Oblivion as well. I never finished it, but I have played. Actually, I've never finished Skyrim either, actually. But I've played a decent amount of both of those games, and I have tried out Morrowind. Couldn't quite get into it, but I'd love to. Try to get into it again someday. But anyway, so I was curious to read this duology for that reason, plus because Greg Keyes also wrote 3 books in the Star Wars The New Jedi Order series, which is also a fantastic series, and his 3 books that he wrote in that series are some of my favorites. I would say 2 out of the 3 of those are like top 5 New Jedi Order books for me. And it's a 19-book series, so that's saying quite a bit. So I was really excited to read this, and I thought it was okay. It definitely, of the 4 Greg Keyes books I've read so far, is definitely my least favorite one. It was still, fine. It was decent. I mostly enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was anything that spectacular, but, it was okay. So, first things first, things I liked about this book. I really like the plot setup of this book, which ties in also to the world building of this book. So, of course, this is set in the world of the Elder Scrolls on Tamriel, and then kind of the main driving force behind this book is there is this weird floating city called Umbriel that shows up and starts making bad stuff happen. Basically, any place it passes over, it just kills all the landscape and the wildlife and all these things, and then the people are just turned into like husks of themselves or things like that, and kind of draws on life force and things like that. It's really weird, but basically it's this big threat to Tamriel because it's kind of actively destroying parts of the continent. And so, that's kind of the setup of this book, is this place has just shown up, this floating city that nobody knows anything about, nobody knows where it came from, nobody knows why it's there, nobody knows anything really about it. And so you have these characters, some of them who are going to try to kind of figure out a way to get rid of it, try to stop it, and then other characters who end up on Umbriel and are kind of learning about it and trying to figure out kind of from the inside how to figure out how to stop it. And so the setup, I think, was really interesting. This book, I think, had a very strong hook to it, which is what I just explained. I think that was really, really cool. And then the world building of this book, you obviously have the world building of the Elder Scrolls, which I do think it would be helpful to be familiar with the Elder Scrolls before reading this book, just because there are a lot of things about the world building of the Elder Scrolls that are mentioned. So I don't know if I would necessarily recommend this to someone who hasn't played the games before, but if you have played the games before, it does draw a lot on that. And, the world building of Elder Scrolls is cool. But on top of that, you also have this world building of the floating city itself, which I thought was really interesting. It's really weird, really different from the usual Elder Scrolls stuff. All the people on it are don't know anything basically about the outside world of Tamriel, so they're also learning kind of back and forth. The characters who are from Tamriel are learning about this city. The people from the city are learning about Tamriel. It's really interesting. I really enjoyed that about it, and also just the stuff going on Umbriel was also pretty interesting. There was some cool stuff going on with some of the characters, and so I enjoyed that about it as well. I think also there's some good action in this book. There's, pretty decent action. I enjoyed the character dialogue as well. The characters themselves, they were okay, but the dialogue between characters I thought was pretty interesting at most points. Nothing amazing, but, it's decent. But there is a reason why I say this book was just okay, which is because I think the plot and the characters just didn't really draw me in that much. Like, they are serviceable. Like, the characters, there are a decent amount of characters in this book. I didn't find any of them very memorable, and the plot, like, has a really cool setup and some really interesting stuff that happens within it, but overall just never really drew me in that much, and that really is the biggest downfall of this book for me, which is, it has a great setup, really cool world building stuff. This floating city thing is really interesting. Definitely has some high stakes to it that got me invested. But if you have like cool world building, cool setups, things like that, but you don't follow through with really interesting characters or a really interesting plot or both, then it's just not going to draw me in quite as much. So I did feel like the characters, were serviceable at best, pretty much. They just didn't really have much to them that really drew me in. I enjoyed them while they were, in the book. And I enjoyed their interactions with each other, but like I can't point to any one character in this book and say, yeah, that character was really interesting, or anything like that. And same thing with the plot. Like, there was some cool moments here and there. I like the plot setup, but I can't look at it and be like, oh, this was such a gripping plot or anything like that. It wasn't one of those kinds of books for me, where it just had a really engaging characters or a really engaging plot. So that really is the main issue of this book for me. So, and that's really all I have to say about this one, to be quite honest. So overall, it was okay. It was fine. I would recommend it if you're an Elder Scrolls fan, just because, as far as I'm aware anyway, these are the only 2 novels set in the Elder Scrolls universe that are actually out there. So if you are a fan of the Elder Scrolls, I think it's well worth, checking out, just because, there's not very many, there's only 2, so, might as well. And maybe you will enjoy it a bit more than I did. So as far as a rating out of 10 that I would give the Infernal City, I'd give it like a 6.5 out of 10. Like, it was pretty enjoyable all the way through, but nothing about it outside of kind of the premise and the world building aspects of it really was like amazing to me. It was just, a lot of the book to me was like, oh, okay, this is fine. Like, I'm having a decent time, but there was never really any point where I was like, oh, this is amazing. So yeah, overall, it was okay. It was okay. So that's pretty much it for this review. Let me know in the comments if you have read The Infernal City before, what you thought of it, if you have read it, or if not, if you're interested in reading it, or if you're an Elder Scrolls fan, what's your favorite Elder Scrolls game? Let me know that in the comments as well, or anything like that. I do intend, since this is a duology, I'm interested enough to read the second book, but it's not going to be a priority. I might try to get to it later this year. I might not. I don't know. I probably won't wait too long, but it's not going to be something I'm going to be throwing on, real soon. I'll try to get to it sometime later this year, probably, but it's not something that's going to be a huge priority. But hopefully, maybe I'll like that one better. So that's pretty much it for this video. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.